Episode 233, The Change Underground Movement. This is the World Organic News for the week ending 28th of September 2020. John Moore reporting. Decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. The Change Underground Movement indeed. Over the past month or so, I've been going through a kind of life realignment. World Organic News and I have been so intertwined since I started the blog back in 2014 that it's almost a part of me. And I hope it's been a useful part of my listeners' and readers' lives too. The thing is, organic in inverted commas covers a multitude of things. That and my up-close look at a world-renowned 100-acre organic farm was very disillusioning. I heard a podcast some months ago where the guest was promoting another certification. The gist of it was this: organic certification lets buyers know what the producer left out of their production methods, and these things are important. Artificial fertilisers, pesticides, herbicides and so on do not belong in the food system. And they certainly don't belong in the soil. In fact, the organic ideal is now so corrupted in the US that it's possible to receive organic certification for hydroponic systems. That's right, you can be organic without soil. It's mind-boggling. Don't get me wrong, the organic movement was needed. A counterpoint to the green revolution and its over-hybridised seeds, irrigation, artificial fertilisers and all those sides, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides and so on. We also needed the organic movement to remember the how of the older methods, the smaller farmer, the family farmer, the integrated communities, the sophisticated use of the commons. All these things were and are important. We are now at a point where we know that simply removing the artificial parts of industrial farming will not be enough in the current climate. The 10,000 years of African, European, Asian agricultural practice as expressed in the organic movement and taken to extremes in the industrial system, the plough and plough again system, does not assist us with the sequestration of carbon. And carbon, it turns out, is the key to food production. All life on this little blue planet is carbon-based, so far as we know. Turning carbon-based solids, people, animals, mycelia and plants into a gas, CO2, has disrupted the self-correcting cycles that evolved on the planet. The work of Dr. Christine Jones on light farming, which puts things in a different way to the article I wrote on fractional farming, link also in the show notes, and the new research I've read while studying for a diploma in sustainable living at the University of Tasmania, yet again a link in the show notes, all point to a simple step we all need to make. Well, maybe not all of us, but say 10% of us. The life underground is where we need to make the change. Applying the ideas mentioned above, as we discussed back in episodes 217 and 218, Chaos Gardening Parts 1 and 2, let's recall these things are only chaotic from a plant in straight lines with enough space for tractor wheels and only one crop at a time point of view. A standard native pasture would look like a chaos garden if the species were edible by humans. It's all about perspective. Given that we now know regenerative farming gardening restores soil carbon and that industrial processes both release carbon through tillage and through the production of inputs, fertilisers, all those sides again, is there a number we can rely on in any of this? Well, as it turns out, there is, and it's the number 4. 4 per 1,000 is an organisation that's run the numbers. If we add 0.4% of carbon to the soil, that is 4 parts per 1,000, year on year, we will remove all the excess carbon dioxide added since 1750. Small steps that self-accumulate into bigger ones. Now, there was a limit on how much carbon we can stuff into soil. The good thing is, once we reach that limit, the ecosystem of the soil simply creates more soil. Now, the Bureau of Meteorology report for the next 3 months here in Australia is a little concerning. No forecast of the fire conditions we had last summer, or that the US Northwest, the Siberians and the Amazonians are dealing with now, but still a continuation of the warming. A La Nina in the Pacific Ocean and a negative Indian Ocean dipole point to above average rainfall on much of the mainland. Keep an eye out for reports of flooding on the news in the next 3 months. However, for our part of the world in northwest Tasmania, below average rainfall. Slightly below. And warmer nighttime and warmer daytime temperatures. This means more evaporation and in effect less rainfall, or at least soil moisture. We will see. So things are still continuing to deteriorate in a climate sense. Back to the 10% figure I mentioned earlier. It's from a Bill Mollison quote. The greatest change we need to make is from consumption to production, even if on a small scale in our own gardens. If only 10% of us do this, there is enough for everyone. End quote. So my vision is this: train 10% of suburbia to grow in a no-dig regenerative way, and we can change the world. 0.4% carbon sequestration to start with, rapidly increasing as the system grows more soil and therefore sequesters more carbon, to grow better, healthier food through better, healthier soil. If we start small, we can change much once we demonstrate the ease of no-dig gardening. We can feed the world, we can save the world for humanity and the rest of the biosphere. We are, after all, in this together. So over the next little while, this podcast will change its name to The Change Underground. The blog will follow. I'm reliably informed this is technically known as a rebranding, for those that are interested. The podcast will remain on this feed, and so you don't have to do anything to keep getting the episodes. And the archived episodes will all be there too. Nothing will change other than the artwork and the name, and the continued focus on the soil. If you have any thoughts or suggestions on this change, please email me John, Jon, at worldorganicnews.com, and join me in fixing the major issue of our time. It really is this simple, we just have to do it. We just need to decarbonise the air, recarbonise the soil. Thank you all for listening, and I'll be back next week.